Classic Herbicide by DuPont. Classic Weed Control for classic farmers like you. By your John Deere lawn equipment dealer. And by Banville from Sandoz Crop Protection, a change for the better. The 1991 Iowa Boys State Basketball Tournament is brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Test drive his full line of quality cars from Hyundai. Yes, Hyundai.
Live from Veterans Auditorium in Des Moines, the 3A semifinals of the Boys State Basketball Tournament. In the first game, the defending champ Waterloo East takes on Carroll Kuemper. In the second game, what some say may be for the championship, but that, of course, a long way from being determined. Ames goes against North as two Metro Conference schools square off. A very pleasant good afternoon with Gary Thompson. I'm Larry Morgan. We welcome you to what should be a great afternoon of basketball. And I think in both matchups, we'll have some entertainment.
Well, I think people are probably overlooking this first game between East and Kuemper. Everybody's talking about the second game, Ames and North High School. But this should be a great game in the first one, and there's two fine teams.
Let's talk about Waterloo East, the defending champs, but they lost 4 starters. How did they get back?
Well, they got Wallaken is back for him, Rodney Wallaken. You know, they've had some people who have been down here on the bench and reserves, and Steve McGraw does an excellent job with them, and they're the type of team with a lot of quickness that gives other clubs problems.
Let's talk a little more about Rodney Wallaken. I think the impressive thing about him is he really sacrificed his game for the good of the team.
Well, he really did. He's only 6'2". You look at Rodney there. He's a terrific rebounder. He went inside. He probably liked to play outside. He can hit the mid-range jumper. He's also a very smart basketball player, which speaks for why he's an academic all-stater.
Now, the thing about Waterloo East, very simply, is they win with pressure.
Well, they do, and I think that's the thing Kuemper is going to have to fight here. They're going to have to find somebody who can handle the basketball, beat the pressure, come down, and they're going to have to shoot a good percentage.
Carroll Kemper's last appearance here, 85. They won the state. You talk about somebody handling the pressure. One of their guards, Todd Kasperbauer, is going to have to do some of that.
Well, Kasperbauer will handle it. I'm sure he's an excellent player, a good shooter outside. He's not a real quick player, but when you go out to cover him on the outside, he's deceptively quick where he can get the drive, and they sometimes put him in one-on-one situations.
He got 25 against Fort Dodge in the quarterfinals, so he was very comfortable playing here at Veterans Auditorium. So, as you look at the keys today, Gary, what do you think they are?
Well, I think it's the pressure defense of East Waterloo. There's no doubt about that. Probably the defense on Kasperger. I don't know. McGee probably will cover on him. He's not an offensive player, which takes some offense away from East, but he's an excellent defensive player.
East is certainly a very quick basketball team. Can Carroll Kuemper keep up with their quickness?
Well, I think it's a matter of they're a good balanced ball club with scoring. If they handle the ball well, pass the ball, and again emphasize, I think they have to shoot the ball well.
So Waterloo East, trying for back-to-back championships, takes on Carroll Kuemper in the semifinals. With his courtside perspective throughout the afternoon will be Tim Seaman from KCAU TV in Sioux City. Let's go to Tim right now.
Thank you very much, Larry. I'll be courtside where most of the action is. You guys have the high-rise seats. I'm down front and center where the action really is going on. Try to keep you posted. We'll look at the coaches. Maybe stop back at the hot dog stand as well. Needless to say, this afternoon will be a great afternoon. The 4 top seeds in the 3A tournament all involved with the semifinal games this afternoon. It should be a heck of a lot of fun. We'll be back to take a look at starting lineups right after this.
Winning, losing, how you play the game. That's what good sportsmanship and life are all about. Hello, I'm John Nelson, Chairman and CEO of Norwest Bank, Iowa. Each year, Norwest awards 6 $1,000 scholarships to Iowa high schools for the sportsmanship displayed by their teams and students at the Boys and Girls State High School Basketball Tournament. It's Norwest's way of saying congratulations and of showing today's students and tomorrow's leaders that we appreciate their best.
I don't think the good old days are gone. I think there's still some good old days left. Just look where we've come from in a short span, from farming with mules to four-wheel drive tractors, from farming 25 acres to farming 2,500 acres. In just a short time, you're just talking like in a space of 50 years or so. So you look 50 years on down the road, who's to say what technology is going to do for us?
At Veterans Auditorium, 2 games have already been played. They were consolation games, and in the Class A consolation game, Pomeroy Palmer defeated Boyden Hall 79-72. In the 1A consolation, top-rated Postville down Bellevue 78-60. But back to this 3A semifinal, Carroll Kuemper against East Waterloo. We talked about the offense and what Waterloo East will try to accomplish. Now, Carroll Kuemper has a flex offense. What can we look for from that?
Well, I think you're going to see some screens out of that flex offense. A lot of times they'll pick down for Casper Bauer and run him off a screen down the bottom, come out, and try and get some shots off there. Then they'll go and they'll set some screens for Friedman down inside, who's an excellent inside player, had 28 points against Fort Dodge.
Another key factor, I think, will be rebounding. East Waterloo, in knocking off Bettendorf in the quarterfinals, had an 11 rebound edge, while Carroll Kuemper was out-rebounded by 10. How important do you think that might be today?
Well, rebounding is always a key in any basketball game. And for Kuemper, the one thing with East, they're terrific going to the offensive glass. In fact, that's where some of their kids get their points. Tella Scott, for instance, Tyrone Williams. In fact, even Rodney Wallakin, who leads them in scoring, gets a lot of it going to the offensive glass. You've got to put a body on those kids. You can't go to the glass and set and then try and jump. You've got to pin them out early when you're dealing with big jumpers.
For more on today's 3A semifinals, let's go courtside and Tim Seaman.
Thank you very much, Larry. I'm joined by 3 distinguished members, I guess you could say, of the media that are involved with this tournament, the people that bring the story back home to the folks around Iowa. We'll start off with the broadcast media, I guess, and Chuck Schaffner, the sportsman at the Associated Press here in Des Moines. Whenever you pick up your local hometown story and it says AP, this is the guy that did the writing. Chuck, thanks for joining us.
I appreciate it, Tim. It's a great time of year, isn't it, with all the basketball?
It's a dandy time of the year, and he's especially pleased because he also takes care of the polls that are done by the Associated Press. And, hey, you got your teams that are supposed to be here, according to you, here this weekend.
Well, we got 3 #1 ranked teams in here, and that's probably better than our record most years. Is, you know, during the season you're making educated guesses when you're ranking these teams because they don't always play each other. Some teams play teams from different classes, you know, and it's a lot of times it's really hard to tell. But this year we got 3 #1 teams, although one of them got defeated in the semifinals, Postville in 1A. They did come back and win this consolation game today.
A little bit earlier this afternoon. What about this 3A semifinal afternoon? What a great afternoon. The top 4 seeds are on the court tonight. How do you see these 2 afternoon games?
That's great. The second game especially, you know, has some great interest here in the Des Moines area with Ames and Des Moines North playing a rubber match. You know, they split their 2 games during the season, but now this one certainly takes on a little more importance than the others because they're going into the championship game. They're about pretty evenly matched ball clubs. You know, North ended up winning the conference title by 1 game over Ames. So I look for a close game. Maybe a team that gets a couple breaks down the end is going to pull that one out. This one here, you have a fine Kuemper team that can really shoot the ball. You know, they work the ball, they set it up, they get good shots, and they usually make them. On the other hand, you have an East team with speed. You know, a team that maybe a lot of people didn't expect to be here. One starter from last year's defending championship team, Rodney Wallakin, but he's a fine ball player. Really does a lot of things for him.
No doubt it's going to be a great afternoon. Thanks, Chuck, for joining us. Now let's swing, and we'll talk to the print side as far as the individual side of the print media with the Des Moines Register and the Fort Dodge Messenger. Rick Brown on the far side, Bob Brown on the near side, the Register and the Messenger. It's a family combination, gentlemen. That's what I want to talk about first. When's the first time you remember the younger one coming and plunking down at your typewriter, Bob?
Well, I don't know. I can't remember that far back. He was pretty young. He'd like to go up to the office with me on, like, you know, Sundays and fool around. But little did I know then he would fall victim to this.
Rick, what memories have you got as a kid tagging along with Dad? Of course, tournament time, an exciting time of the year, even before you were working in the media.
Right. I always used to take a scorebook along to the games as well, and I kept score. I did it like he did. I'd made my 2s like he did, my circles like he did. And it just kind of went from that. He told me many times that I should be a doctor or a lawyer, and I just never listened.
It happens to all of us. I don't know how, but it does. What do you think about this afternoon? Great matchup, as I mentioned. The second game is a Central Iowa matchup, and the opener here, pretty much a West Side quickly.
Well, I think in the first game you're going to see one of the quickest teams people will ever see in high school, and one of the best jumping teams for a bunch of guys no bigger than 6'1", against a very, very well-disciplined, experienced, senior-oriented Kuemper team. It should really be a good match.
Rick, I know you've got to be excited about the second game.
Well, the second game, people in Des Moines in the Metro Conference have been talking about a long time, what if these teams would meet. Everyone kind of hoped it would be a state title game, but it's not. It's a semi. It's very similar to the first game. We have a very, very quick North team against an Ames team. Both have great players, North and Hurl Beecham, and Ames and Fred Hoiberg. You know, it's too close to call. They split in the air. It's going to be a real fans game.
Thanks for joining us, men. Have a good afternoon and a good evening. We'll go back upstairs. Larry and Gary are standing by.
Thanks very much, Tim. Boy, the Browns have written a few words about sports in our state for a while, haven't they?
Well, they really have, and I've known Bob Brown for a long time, and in fact, I hate to give away his age or mine, but he was covering and brought me a picture back when he was covering me when I was playing here a while back, and I would put up my den. So that shows you how old Bob is and how long he's been writing.
Well, speaking of old, you say a while back. How many years ago was it, Gary?
Ooh, that's got to go back to about 32 or 3 now.
A bit, anyway. Well, we're delighted to have you with us for the Boys State Tournament. The 3A semifinals, always a couple of good matchups. Now let's talk about the Trojans. We mentioned having lost 4 starters. Not too many people expected them to get here, but they have played very well. They had trouble early. They got hot late. We take a look at their road to state.
Well, the thing about this club is they've had to beat 3 teams, the top 3 teams in there, 3 times in one season. That, you talk about beating a team once 3 times, they had to beat 3 teams, Cedar Falls, Waterloo West, and Mason City. Only the Cedar Falls series was not competitive. The other games were competitive almost every game except one with Mason City.
As far as the Knights from Carroll Kemper, they're 22-1. Their only loss this year came in overtime in the final regular season game to Sioux City Heelan by a score of 64-62. But then when the tournament started, things turned around again for Alan Custer's team, and this is how they got here.
Well, you see who they beat in the district, Harlan and Denison. The thing you look for, they didn't have a whole lot of close ball games right there in the district, but you get to sub-state, they got a 2-pointer. And I always like that when you can have a close ball game and get by. Then they had a strong game against Fort Dodge, where Fort Dodge was coming here with a losing record, but played them. And I think that's good when you're in a tournament, to be under that pressure, so when things get tight, you've been there before and been able to handle it.
I think Carroll Kemper coach Alan Custer would agree with you, because he talked about his team not playing with poise in the sub-state, but came down here when they were on the ropes against Fort Dodge. They did exhibit poise.
Yes, and it's a game that maybe they could have overlooked simply because of the losing record, but Fort Dodge had added wheat to their lineup since the season got underway, and he began to play well. So those are important factors to look at. He's got to play with poise and confidence.
Let's see what the numbers tell us about this semifinal matchup between Carroll and Waterloo East.
Well, both of them with good records. You got Kemper rated number 1, seeded number 1, and Waterloo East, I think, the number 4 seed. And you look at the offensive average, pretty similar. Defensive, Kemper's got a little advantage there.
I see one key stat, free throw percentage.
Yep. That's unbelievable. Free throwing must be filtering down from college to high school, because it doesn't seem to be good free throwing teams. Kemper a little bit better at 69, but you normally use 70 as a benchmark. If you're over 70, you're a pretty good free throw shooting team.
And Waterloo East is a team that has struggled at the line, and in fact, as you look back at the quarterfinal game, they needed some free throws down the stretch to hold off Bettendorf, and had some difficulty there, but got enough of them, obviously, as they won the ball game 74-67. We mentioned Carroll Kemper in at 22-1, Waterloo East 19-4. Their 4 losses by a total of 14 points, and 2 of them came in their first 3 games. So when Steve McGraw's team gelled, they really gelled.
Well, that's the thing. You probably expect that. They play in a tough conference. When you only have one returning starter coming back, you're filling some gaps. He's probably experimenting right there, getting the kids together and used to playing with one another. And then finally you grab that cohesiveness, and then you're on your way. And as you said, along with his good coaching, he's won 294 career ball games. And so they put it together, and they get to come back and defend their state championship from last year, and that's pretty nice.
Waterloo East and Carroll Kemper prepare to square off the Trojans against the Knights. 19-4 Waterloo East. Carroll Kemper at 22-1. Now let's meet the lineups. Here's a public address announcer, Reverend Craig Collison.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Veterans Memorial Auditorium and the 1991 Iowa Boys High School State Tournament. This Class 3A semifinal features the Trojans of Waterloo East and the Knights of Kemper Catholic in Carroll.
Let's meet the non-starters for each club this afternoon. The non-starters for the Trojans of Waterloo East. Number 10, Cedric Robinson. Number 14, Tim Eilers. Number 44, Brandon Boniface. Number 11, Justin Little. Number 15, Chris Wise. Number 41, Adonis Smith. Number 43, Travis Montgomery. Number 45, Craig Roby. Number 51, Bobby Wright. And number 53, Chris Hamlet. The assistant coach of the Waterloo East Trojans, Mr. Brian Jones. The Trojans beat Bettendorf 74-67 on Wednesday to reach this semifinal game. And now the non-starters for the Knights of Kuemper Catholic. Number 12, Chris Ventiger. Number 22, Brent Mack. Number 42, Mike Steyert. Number 50, Brad Muggenberg. Number 10, Dan Davis. Number 14, Pat Henkenius. Number 24, Dan Overmole. Number 30, Dan Earlbeck. Number 40, Ken Grote. Number 54, Russ Gayling. And the assistant coaches of the Kuemper Knights, Mr. Dale Leslie and Mr. Mark Vanami. Kuemper beat Fort Dodge 82-77 on Wednesday to reach this semifinal. And now your starting lineups for the 19-4 Trojans of Waterloo East and the 22-1 Knights of Carroll Kuemper. At forward for the Trojans, a 6'2 senior, number 22, Tellis Scott. For the Knights, a 6'2 senior, number 32, Tom Knight. For the Trojans, a 6'2 junior, number 32, Rodney Walliken. For the Knights, a 6'3 senior, number 52, Greg Friedman. At center for the Trojans, a 6'2 senior, number 42, Tyrone Williams. For the Knights, a 6'5 senior, number 44, Jeremy Langerud. At guard for the Trojans, a 5'9 junior, number 12, Andre Galloway. For Kemper, a 5'7 senior, number 20, Chuck Gradeville. For the Trojans, a 5'11 senior, number 34, Kendrick McGee. For the Knights, a 6'1 senior, number 34, Todd Kasperbauer. The head coach of the Waterloo East Trojans, Mr. Steve McGraw. And the head coach of the Carroll Kemper Knights, Mr. Al Koster. Ladies and gentlemen, your officials. The referee, Mr. Steve Beckman of Bettendorf. The umpire, Mr. Rod Hill of Bettendorf. The bench official, Mr. Richard Kuhlbeck of Cedar Rapids.
Time to play. Carroll Kemper and Waterloo East. For Carroll Kemper, their 7th state tournament appearance. We mentioned it earlier. The last time they were here, 85, they won it. And for the Trojans, their 13th state tournament appearance, only 9 schools have been here more frequently. And, of course, the Trojans won it last year. As far as the 3A team offensive leaders at this point, we're seeing them.
We don't see any more. The scores are up there. You see the averages from 79 to 73, so we expect some points to be scored here in this 3A semifinal games. A lot of times it'll go the other way, too. You'll see some defense that dominates.
Not so coincidentally, though, the top 5, 4 of them in the semifinals. Jeremy Langrud at 6'5", jumps against Tyrone Williams for Waterloo East. He is 6'2". And the Knights from Carroll Kemper will start at first. On the perimeter is Gradeville, number 20, and he's the player that's really the heart of their team. So look for him to be a big factor. On the drive, Kasperbauer, but he travels, and the ball will go to Waterloo East. The Knights committed just 6 turnovers in the quarterfinals. That's almost impossible against the pressure of Waterloo East to duplicate that feat.
Well, they'd take that right now. Alan Custer, the coach, he's settled for it.
Wallakan scores, and the Trojans go in front 2-0. Kasperbauer finds Tom Knight inside. Langrud strapping for the rebound, but coming up with it is Tellis Scott.
And I think Knight there surprised that he's open and maybe also respecting the jumping ability of East Waterloo and was looking for the shot to get blocked.
And the team leader for the Trojans has both early buckets, Wallakan. The defending champs in the lead at 4-0. And it's Greg Friedman, an outstanding scorer in his own right. Friedman comes into this ballgame averaging 17.8. So between Kasperbauer at 18 and 17.8, in Friedman, they do have an inside-outside threat.
Well, they do, and that's always good. It's kind of like a baseball team with a shortstop, center fielder, and a catcher. You like the middle of that lineup in the heart of your ball club in those 2 positions.
Knight didn't get the roll, and off the baseline, the shot out by Williams, and a foul is called, and it's the game's first foul, and it's against Waterloo East, Rodney Wallakan.
Now, East busts out to a 4-point lead here, but you got to remember that the Knights, with an all-senior team, so they've got experience. They've been in trouble before. They're not in trouble now by 4, but I mean, to get hit with 2 quick baskets, you have to keep your poise, maintain your confidence, come down and run your offense and get your shots out of that offense.
Gradeville bringing it up against Galloway. To the baseline, Kasperbauer. And keeping it alive, Knight for Kemper.
I've already seen Kasperbauer, we talked about, go one-on-one. We said he's not real quick, but deceptively quick, probably.
The ball game almost 2 minutes old. The Knights have yet to hit a shot. They trail 4-0. Lob a bit too tall for Wallakan. This is Gradeville. And the lid remains on the East basket. But Kemper Kemper won't again get a chance.
But I think Gradeville, a good move there, a pump fake, because when you're playing with guys that have exceptional jumping ability, they like to block shots. So with the pump fake, you have a chance to get people up off the ground.
Man on the far left of your screen, Alvin Custer, in his 6th year at Kemper, 16th year as a head coach. Getting the roll inside, Greg Friedman. And it's a 4-2 lead for Waterloo East. 22 is Tella Scott. Williams on the baseline.
Boy, good drive, penetration quickness, and then kick back out. Good recognition.
Williams comes into this ball game averaging in double figures at 12.5. From the end zone, this is the way it looks. Good job changing hands by Todd Kasperbauer.
A tough shot right there.
His average right at 18 a game, leading scorer. And Waterloo East comes down and answers in a hurry. An 8-4 lead for Waterloo East. Friedman inside, and he has become a factor now as he has 2 of the first 3 baskets for Carroll Kemper. The traveling violation will give Carroll Kemper a chance to tie it with a 2.
There again, you saw the pump fake underneath. The baseline, the pump fake, got the helping defender up in the air, and then you take it up and get the easy shot. As you look at Coach Steve McGraw.
And a change in the lineup for Waterloo East we should mention right away as Carroll Kemper tries to attack. Number 10 is Cedric Robinson, and though he doesn't start, he is a major factor for Waterloo East.
Certainly was in the first game. Watch here now as Kemper attacks the press. You see Boniface getting there too late, and I think that's another thing that you have to do. You take your first shot at the press. If you beat it on the tail end and have a mismatch, you try and score. If you can't get the good shot, you bring it back out, set it up, and then get into your offense and make East Waterloo play defense, which is something they do not like to do. They'd like to get on you quick, change up trade-off shots, and get up and down the floor.
Langerud, a 61% free throw shooter. Best he can do is pull Kemper within 1. And coming up with the rebound, Brandon Boniface. Steve McGraw going to his deep bench early on the drive. The shot would not go by Galloway. And with the foul, Hendrick McGee.
You watch this action right here go up, and there they are inside on the glass, and that's what you have to do if you're Kemper. You have got to keep him off. You cannot give him that kind of airspace going to the glass, or you're going to be in trouble before the afternoon's over.
Scott back in. McGee, having just picked up the foul, will go out.
Press this time, but Kemper, again, the particular problem, they're handling it.
On the wing, it is Knight, and with the rebound is Cedric Robinson. He is only a sophomore. He is lightning quick and plays with great confidence for a young guy. Inside, Tella Scott.
And that's one of the other keys when you're playing a team like East Waterloo. You've got to get back. You just have to get back, turn your head, and see the ball.
We've reached the midway point of the first quarter, just under 4 minutes to play. So far, Waterloo East has led all the way. Their current advantage is 4. Friedman from the high post. And he has all but run Kemper's first 4 buckets.
Well, Friedman, a good-sized kid, 6'3" and 180 pounds. He puts the body on you. He kind of move you off, and then he'll come back and take the jumper.
Galloway's shot won't go. With the rebound is Knight. And Carroll Kemper can tie with a 2. Kasperbauer on the drive. Blocking foul. Shot will count.
Well, there's attack on the other end, and that's one of the theories. When you're attacked defensively full court, you attack them on the other end. Here he comes up with the left hand, gets it up off the glass, good concentration. Pistol comes in, gets the blocking call. You see the defender sliding all the way, doesn't get in there in position before Kasperbauer gets in the air.
Tella Scott tried to pick up the charge. Instead, he gets the foul, and Kasperbauer with a free throw will give Carroll Kemper their first lead.
We talked about it, other people talk about it, the Casper Bar not being real quick. But there's something about some players that know how to play, and they know how to make up for that lack of quickness by putting people into motion where they don't want to go.
Wallakin rebounds his own shot.
Boy, and I had one of my notes watching him play in the first game is that when he shoots, you better put a body on him because he's going to charge the boards, go back after the second time.
Waterloo East, a 12-10 lead and the ball as Scott hands it off to Robinson.
Did you notice there, Kuemper, a good job of 3 guys back, but East Waterloo had 5 guys beyond the trailing 2 for Kuemper.
Friedman rips down the rebound. Granville able to recover his own bobble. This would be for 3. Chuck Granville scores, and Carroll Kuemper has their first lead, 13-12.
Granville's a good outside shooter, 49% on the year, but he's shooting 44% from three-point land.
Trying to answer with a 3. Waterloo East, the shot wouldn't go by Robinson.
Now, I think if Kuemper keeps East Waterloo on those perimeter, that's to their advantage right there.
Off the baseline, nothing but net. Beautiful shot by Jeremy Langaroo. His first bucket. It's 15-12, Carroll Kuemper.
The thing that's happening right now is you got good ball movement by Kuemper, and that good ball movement is taking away the individual man-for-man pressure. Before they can recover and help, the kid's got it, and he's got a chance to go up and take the shot.
The quick Robinson on the drive, and you know what? He hasn't missed a shot yet in this tournament. He was 11 of 11 in the quarterfinals, and he's 2 for 2 today.
And I remember one of those shots just like that in the quarterfinals. I thought, well, he's lucky, but he does it for the second time.
Casper Bauer answering on the drive. 17-14, Carroll Kuemper. 1:25 to go first quarter. Scott finds Wallakin in the middle.
That's where they need to go back. They need to attack there first. We got a kid hurt down here.
And he is a Waterloo East player. I believe that to be Tyrone Williams.
Well, that'll hurt him on the inside. Their number 2 rebounder. Strong scorer inside.
See if we can figure out how this happened.
Wallakin going up right there. There's the jump, and he comes down, and what usually happens, you come down on a foot and turn that ankle.
So 1:16 to go in the first quarter. Timeout for the injury. The score is Carroll Kuemper 17, Waterloo East 16. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment. I didn't know.
Every year, they're always changing something. Some old farmer told me one time, a fool never changes his mind. So sometimes you have to do things different. Maybe instead of doing the same old thing every year the same old way, you have to change. If you don't, you're going to be down on the bottom.
Have a nice day.
Looks like deer season again. And right now, your John Deere dealer has the lowest prices of the year. So come take a look at our complete line of walk-behinds. You can save on our riding mowers and lawn tractors, too. Try any for 30 days. If you're not satisfied, return it for a full refund.
You forgot your lunch.
With a John Deere credit card, 90 days, same as cash.
See the yellow pages under lawnmower for your nearest John Deere dealer.
Veterans Auditorium, Waterloo East and Carroll Kuemper playing in a 3A semifinal. Second 3A semifinal. It will be a couple of Metro Conference teams, the North High Polar Bears and the Ames Little Cyclones. The starting center for the Trojans, Tyrone Williams, looked like he twisted the ankle, was helped to the bench. And now play resumes with a minute 16 to go in the first period.
And we've got 45 now in there, Craig Roby. Replacing Tyrone Williams.
Both teams shooting very well in the first quarter.
Steve McGraw told me right before the game, he said, if this club shoots like Bettendorf did against us, he said, we'll be in trouble. We're starting off shooting pretty good.
On the drive, it is Tom Knight. Knight trying to drive in where there was really no daylight and wound up picking up the foul. No bucket.
See the defender this time. He's got his position before he takes off in the air. An official with the offensive charge call. Good defense.
That's the first foul against Carroll Kemper in the game.
The way East Waterloo shot free throws the other afternoon, that might be a liability.
Galloway inside to Wallacan. You're right about that. And Wallacan with a 10-point first quarter. Waterloo East back into the lead at 18-17. And a chance to make it more on the turnover by the Knights.
Or the coach Alan Custer, that's what you hate right there, those unforced turnovers. You know, against a club like this, now we're looking at the East Waterloo bench. Right there, Steve McGraw. But against the club, and you mentioned against East Waterloo, there's Custer, that you're going to make some turnovers. So you do not want to commit turnovers on your own. They're unforced.
The Trojans to bring it up the floor, and to bring it up will be Cedric Robinson. Only a sophomore. Could start if he chose to, but he chooses to come off the bench.
Yeah, that's an unusual situation. I thought maybe it was a sophomore-senior deal. You know, he starts the senior, bring the sophomore quickly. He said no, he just feels more comfortable coming off the bench.
Scott is fouled by Knight. For Knight, his second foul, and he's picked them up in the last two trips down the floor. One at the other end, one at this end.
Well, my theory with this defender for Kemper inside is that I'm going to get my body in there, my legs, the hand straight up. I'm not going to try and block any shots because these guys have the ability to jump, but take the ball away from you. And your chances of blocking it, I don't think, are very good.
No one's hit a free throw yet. The Knights have had three, missed them all. That was the first attempt for the Trojans. Into the lineup for Carroll Kemper comes Brent Mack, a 6'2 junior, and with two fouls, Knight will go to the bench.
We saw it on our graphic to start the ball game, but just to reiterate, East Waterloo only a 58% free throw shooting team. I think was 4 for 14 in the game against Bettendorf, which they won.
Scott had a tough shooting game against Bettendorf. 1 of 11, misses both free throws. Trying to save it is Gradeville, but the Trojans have it a 1-point lead into the final half minute of the first quarter.
We got Robinson's first miss of the tournament, right?
11 of 11 against Bettendorf, 2 of 2 today, and he finally missed one. And he is only a sophomore. Kemper tries to regain the lead. We have 5 seconds to go in the quarter. And they'll have a chance with the foul called against Cedric Robinson.
And Cedric, a sophomore, would maybe say, you know, you talk about sophomore freshman mistakes. You have to know the time, and you do not want to foul a shooter out in that range, particularly with the clock running down. He's forcing the shot. You got to stay away if he gets it, and he's probably getting a little lecture there right now.
I think he probably is being explained that very fact by Steve McGraw. Galloway is coming to take his place as Gradeville goes to the line. His team trails by 1 with 1 second to go in the first quarter, so this is for the lead, and Gradeville, as you saw, a very good free throw shooter.
And he hit some key ones down the stretch against Fort Dodge. In fact, he was 6 out of 8 from the free throw line in that game.
And Carroll Kemper will grab the lead at the end of the period. That's the end of the first quarter with the score. Carroll Kemper, 19. Waterloo East, 18. We'll be back after this word from your local station.
During Hyundai Savings Time, your Hyundai dealer is offering the biggest rebates he's had all year. With as much as $1,500 factory cash back, you can own this durable, economical Excel for as little as $55.25. Or get away in a sporty new Scoop with power steering and stereo. With a $1,000 rebate, it starts at just $79.90. It's not only fun to drive, it's easy to own. See your Hyundai dealer. It could be the smartest move you make all year. Sale ends April 3rd.
Let's go, Buck. Okay, suit yourself. Now that we're using Bucktril herbicide, old Buck doesn't even check the corn anymore because Bucktril gives us real good control of cuckleburr, velvet leaf, and other broadleaves. And with Bucktril, there's no vapor drift, so it won't burn my beans. Speaking of vapors. Oh, I can't believe it.
When it comes to controlling broadleaf weeds in corn, nothing measures up to Bucktril.
Come on, Buck, open the door, buddy. Come on. Oh, don't you lay down on me, buddy.
U.S.
USA Today says Yearbook is an eye-opening experience. It's a show of genuine emotion, says the LA Times. The New York Times called it engaging, and the Baltimore Sun says Yearbook is moving, hot, and daring, the kind of TV people will be talking about the next day. Now, experience it for yourself.
1991, 3, 2, 1.
Yearbook, Saturday on Fox.
Kuemper leads 19-18 after the first quarter of this first 3A semifinal. Fellas, I think we'll see Tyrone Williams back on the court. He went to the locker room without much of a limp. I think we'll see him before the half.
He is the starting center for Waterloo East, and he went down when he apparently stepped on someone else's ankle and twisted his. Waterloo East, the possession of the quarter. Wallacan scores again. He has 12 of the first 20 points for Waterloo East.
That's the fifth offensive rebound for East Waterloo. That's the area where Kuemper is going to have to be strong.
That's really a critical factor at this point, isn't it?
It really is. Wallacan's got a couple putbacks that I can think of.
Friedman in deep. Nice drive. And for Greg Friedman, 8 points to lead Carroll Kuemper in scoring. Kuemper back into the lead at 21-20, but at the other end on the transition, Hendrick McGee scores for the Trojans.
They come with a trap and pressure. Good ball, but they end up 2-on-1. Friedman probably should have passed that ball inside.
Galloway fills the middle. Scott is fouled by Casper Bauer. Team fouls now, 5 against Waterloo East, 3 against Carroll Kuemper. And back into the lineup now, the young man who was injured earlier, Tyrone Williams. Good news for Waterloo East that he can come in, and he will take the place of Tim Eilers. New rule in high school basketball, an experimental rule in Iowa concerning fouls. No more 1-and-1s.
That's right. Experimental for this year, and what I'm told it'll probably stay in because it's getting good reviews. And that's that you do not shoot, unless it's a shooting foul like we are now, you do not shoot any free throws until you get to the 7th foul. When the 7th foul is committed, you shoot 2 free throws from then on in for the rest of the half.
Of course, the traditional rule, a 1-on-1 starting at the 5th foul. It's made for quicker games, less free throw opportunities. That's the first free throw hit in this game by either team. Here is Cedric Robinson, the talented sophomore. Back into the lineup.
Again, the 2-2-1, they almost flex into like a 2-1-1-1.
Radeville and Casper Bauer having some difficulty, and Galloway almost comes up with a steal.
Andre Galloway might be the heart and soul of this club. I've been told by coaches who have played against him. Quick, plays good defense, and a good outside shooter.
He is only a junior, so though while the Trojans had a major rebuilding job last year to get back, they'll have their returning back line for next year. And a shot banged home by Jeremy Langerud, his second field goal, and the game tied up at 23.
Well, Friedman, a good job. He gets a double team on the baseline, recognizes it, gets it to the open man.
Robinson finds the man in the middle. Good pass by Robinson. And they got Wallacan an easy 2.
Well, that was a beautiful pass, and you saw the quickness of Wallacan. He was around the defender really before he could hardly move. I like that little play by Todd Kaspar. When you're playing against pressure, ball fake and move the defense, then you can open up where you really want to go with the pass.
Radeville at the top of the circle of Langerud. Now off the baseline. Shot drilled home by Mike Steyer. Steyer off the bench into the lineup and scores. Then the game's tied at 25.
Steyer averaging 4 a game. Did not score in the first game. Only took 1 shot.
Thought Galloway might have been in a little trouble there, but he saved it. The Trojans turnover. Back to the Knights. Changes for both teams. Knight comes back into the lineup with 2 fouls for Carroll Kuemper. So Alan Custer sat him out a little over 2 minutes of the second quarter and feels he needs him in there with 2 fouls.
Well, he's a solid player, a very sound player defensively, passes the ball.
The quick hands of the Trojans, but it is intercepted by Casper Bauer. Friedman fakes, fires, it will count. And a foul is called.
Kemper Knights, as I talked about earlier, doing a good job with that out fake and freezing the defender. They've got him staying down looking now, and that time he just made a little fake and then continued right on. So it was a good change of pace.
So a chance at a three-point play for the 6'3", 180-pound senior. Coach Alan Custer says nothing flashy about him, just a workaholic. Number 44, Brandon Boniface, back in the lineup for the Trojans. Williams, by the way, the last foul, his first 16 foul. 28-25, Carroll Kemper.
Those workaholics, that's what you like in the game of basketball. Somebody that's always working is going to make positive things happen. Stretched out, looks like you could call it a 3-2 or a 1-2-2 is basically what it is.
14 is Tim Eilers in the lineup for Waterloo East. He'll crank a three.
He's the best outside shooter on this club. The best three-point shooter is Tim Eilers, shooting 47% from three-point range.
And answering at the other end, a fine drive by Casper Bauer.
He has made some tough shots, Larry. Down the drive and a couple other drives, switched it on the reverse side against his body.
Eilers again off the bench for 2 threes. And Gary, coming into this tournament, he had taken 57 shots this year, 47 of them from three-point range. He is the designated three-man.
Well, he's doing that, and what you have to be aware of is when a guy comes in, you have to recognize and come out and cover him. But Kemper trying to jam it inside to keep the inside game from hurting them.
Hustle by Casper Bauer, recovers what looked like a Waterloo East possession.
Right, and you see Casper Bauer, smart player, like we say, not extremely quick, but deceptive, and you play smart, and you can make steals. Good pass.
Oh, great pass. Inside is Friedman.
Right now, Kemper on the inside is taking the jump ability out of the game from East Waterloo. They have him thinking about when they're going to shoot that basketball.
3:45 to play in the first half. And the foul is called on Friedman as he tries to deny Wallach on the ball. It will be his first foul. It will be the 4th team foul against Carroll Kemper. Steve McGraw on the bench for Waterloo East.
See, Eilers, we talked about him being able to hit the three. He comes in, and I noticed in the first game, he's not bashful. As soon as he's got a chance, he puts it up, and that's what he's in the game for.
The 5'10", 150-pound senior, and really almost a designated bomb man. For East in the lineup now is Craig Roby. His brother Chris was a starter on the state championship team for Waterloo East last year. He took the place of Eilers. Excuse me, Eilers is still in. Took the place of Boniface up front. Walking foul called on Ventiger. Chris Ventiger into the lineup for Carroll Kemper for the first time.
I'll tell you, those officials, that is the toughest call in basketball. I'm looking at it. I'm waiting for the offensive foul to come. But he's down there about 4 feet away from the call.
It is a tough call. Even at that perspective, I think it's a tough call.
It's just that little bit of movement, whether you can move and get there in time or not, and things happen so fast.
Trojans try to regain the lead. Galloway finds the hot man Wallacan. He hasn't missed many. The outlet, Casper Bauer, a little bit too long for Tom Knight. Right idea, I guess, Gary.
Well, occasionally against an East Waterloo team, they crash the boards. You can be able to get that outlet pass, what we call release or cheat out early with a player.
Galloway. Steyer coming up with the ball for Carroll Kemper.
Walligan thought he had somebody underneath, and he was intentionally tipping that ball to what he thought was his own teammate.
3 minutes to go in the first half. Carroll Kemper with the ball in a 1-point lead. On the turnaround, it is Steyer. Counts the basket.
Now, East Waterloo is not a big club inside physically. I mean, as far as height, we talked about big jumpers, and you see him going right over the top there with a nice jumper, and Kemper's attacking him down inside.
Roby on the foul. That's the 7th on the Trojans, which will put the Knights into the 2-shot situation in every foul opportunity. Now, this is just the continuation following the bucket, so it'll be 1 here for Mike Steyer, the junior who is learning very quickly, according to Coach Alan Custer, averaging 4 points a ball game. Got into foul trouble in the quarterfinals, as Gary mentioned, did not score against Fort Dodge. offensive rebound by Knight. And the tip-in goes.
Yeah, to who? They give it to Langerud, Jeremy Langerud.
Start was also right there, but Langerud gets the tip.
It was really hard to tell.
In fact, he won the sub-state game with the tip-in. To beat Cedar for Council Bluff, Thomas Jefferson with a tip-in. Nice. Biggest lead for Carroll Kemper, chance to make it more.
Nice move by Galloway, just didn't convert the basket.
Knight on the roll, his first bucket, and Carroll Kemper has got an 8-point run underway and a 7-point lead at 38-31.
And East Waterloo needs to go to that man right there, Wallaken again. Either in that position now, we talked about him moving out of his position, but he can hit that shot from 15 to 17 feet.
He averages 20, he has 16 already. Wallaken. Galloway overcommitting, nice for the steal. Left-hander Casper Bauer misfiring.
Larry, I like that recognition. So many times in the game of basketball anymore, I see a guy dive when they go to the pass, and the other guy goes to recover, and he goes down to the other side instead of coming back away from where the defensive man left.
And now a timeout is taken. We have a minute and 49 seconds left to play in the first half. Carroll Kemper with their biggest lead of the game, up by a score of 38-33 after a moment ago, leading by 7. They still lead by 5. There's a timeout on the floor. Now here's a word from your local station.
During Hyundai Savings Time, your Hyundai dealer is offering the biggest rebates he's had all year. With as much as $1,500 factory cash back, you can own this durable, economical Excel for as little as $55.25. Or get away in a sporty new Scoop with power steering and stereo. With a $1,000 rebate, it starts at just $79.90. It's not only fun to drive, it's easy to own. See your Hyundai dealer. It could be the smartest move you make all year. Sale ends April 3rd.
The lead seesawing back and forth, and then Carroll Kemper went on an 8-point run. They now lead by 5, 38-33. Minute 49 left to play in the first half of the first 3A semifinal. Let's look at the Norwest key stats so far, Gary.
Well, the rebounding, 12-11, so it's an even game there. Turnovers, amazingly, only 4 and 5 turnovers for each ball club here.
And so the stats are tight, the game is tight, and Waterloo is seeing Kemper go on a run, now tries to answer as Wallaken goes right back to the middle. During the rebound, Mike Steyer, what a nice job he's done off the bench for Carroll Kemper.
And they've closed down that offensive glass for East Waterloo right now. East had more offensive rebounds, I think, in the first quarter.
Open in the middle is Langerud. Kemper duplicates their biggest lead.
And they're taking advantage down inside of size and some physicalness.
Foul called against Jeremy Langerud. Both teams are now in that bonus situation, or in other words, in the penalty situation. But again, not a 1-and-1 in situations like this, but a 2-shot foul. Steve McGraw, 4th state tournament, 12th year. Now, Waterloo East has won 294 games in his career, and there is Alan Custer, who brought Alta to the state tournament 3 times back in the 1970s, and has never finished worse than 3rd in the state tournament.
Pretty good record. Just to correct, they did change that foul on a reach-in and charged it to Gradeville, number 20.
So Gradeville with his first foul. Wallaken with 16 points, the game's leading scorer. Greg Friedman, 13 points for Carroll Kemper. Rodney Wallaken, also an outstanding student. In fact, he's an academic all-stater. And his coach, Steve McGraw, says some college coach is really missing the boat on this young man.
3.8 student, National Honor Society.
Wallaken with 18 points.
And has been down here 3 years in a row as a starter on this East Waterloo team.
A minute 10 remains in the first half. Ball knocked away by Boniface. 1:03 remains in the half. Carol Kemper with a 5-point lead and trying to make it more as Todd Kasperbauer will inbound. Langerud.
Kemper doing an excellent job of attacking down inside.
Kemper builds the lead back to 7 as Tella Scott drives. And Scott will go to the free throw line with the foul. Friedman hits second. So Tella Scott toes the line, a 6'2", 165-pound senior. Last year, you recall, an outstanding 3A championship game. Waterloo East beat City High of Iowa City in overtime, 89-84 to win it.
I'm sure the entire Kemper team knows about Tella Scott. Only 49% free throws in your game. You pack that away in the back of your mind. If you are not in foul trouble, you take the foul with him, make him shoot it in, and you think about him for late in the game.
And Tella Scott has been to the line 6 times and has just one make to show for it.
Yeah, there's that free throwing hurt. Here you're down 7. You got a chance to cut it back. Now you give up possession of the basketball, and Kemper, if they run out the clock in the last shot, could go up by a possible 9 at half.
And that would be their biggest lead.
Might have been a travel. It's a good catch.
Robinson and Gradino, quite an individual matchup at the top.
The Sweats offense you talked about, a perk by Gradino there.
On the baseline, it hits the side of the backboard by Kasperbauer.
Not good judgment right there, in my opinion. You're trying to run the clock down for the last shot.
Wallacan takes it right to the hole.
Now see what happens right there. You pay the price. You give up 2 that you could possibly get on the other end, and they get 2 with the 4-point swing.
So at worst, it could have been 7. At best, it could have been 9 or 10. And as it is, it's only 5. I see what you're saying. So Steve McGraw leads his Trojan team off the floor. They're down by 5. The halftime score is Carol Kemper, 42, and Waterloo East, 37. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment.
It might not make a big difference to you that your Farm Bureau agent is one of the industry's best trained. Then again, maybe it will. You might not be impressed that your Farm Bureau agent is always looking for innovative insurance and financial solutions. But someday, you might be. And you might not think it's important to plan for your future with a preferred client review. But maybe you should. The Farm Bureau family. Our most important policy is caring. Seems like every day there's something in the news about the environment. People are concerned about the soil and the air, and about our water supply. They want to make sure it's safe for their families, safe for the future. I do too, because I work with chemicals. So I use them safely, and never use more than I need, and I keep them away from water sources, because I care about my kids, and I care about my land.
Brought to you on behalf of the American farmer by the makers of Duo.
Halftime at Veterans Auditorium. Barry Morgan and Gary Thompson. It's been a game that Waterloo East had the lead early. Carol Kemper caught Waterloo East with 2 free throws in the first quarter and then outscored them 23-19 in the second quarter.
Well, we talked about the start of this game about the pressure of East Waterloo. It has been negated by Kemper. They're shooting the ball real well. East Waterloo is having some problems with shooting except for Wallacan inside, and they've not been able to come with tough pressure.
And now we'll be back at Veterans Memorial Auditorium in a moment after this pause for station identification.
Used to be, if you didn't have a truck, you couldn't hang with the boys. Well, they just upped the ante. Now you got to have a Ford. Why? First of all, Ford F-150 gives you more horsepower and a bigger cargo box. The Ford also has a rugged twin I-beam suspension. Chevy suspension is similar to some passenger cars. Passenger cars? Can you picture yourself four-wheeling in the family car? Then why picture yourself in a Chevy when your Ford dealer can put you in a real truck for less money?
On the Fox 17 Iowa Watch, housing help. The city of Clarion is receiving more than $416,000 from the state for housing rehabilitation. That's good news for Clarion and for Iowa.
A recent survey of the Des Moines area showed more people purchase furniture from homemakers than any other store. It must be homemakers' low prices, the quality guarantee, and the customer service. Homemakers' business has tripled in the last 3 years. Join the thousands of furniture shoppers who have switched to homemakers. Come see what your neighbors already know. Quality guaranteed, customer service, and the lowest prices. Homemakers West and Homemakers Furniture Outlet.
Sunday, the guys are in for a long night when they party down with Grandma.
It's already 9:30 and they're still going strong. Just our luck. They all took naps this afternoon.
True Colors. Then Parker faces the ultimate challenge.
Do you like this girl or not?
To change an uptight nerd.
You seem a little tense.
Me?
Into a smooth-talking Don Juan.
It's just nerves. He'll be okay.
Parker Lewis. Can't lose after True Colors. All new episodes Sunday.
Hi, I'm John Brown, Brown Motor Company, Perry, Iowa. When you make the drive to Perry to buy your next car, you'll leave saying, what a deal!
KDSM, Fox 17, Des Moines. Kuemper last got to the state tournament in '85. They won it. They're trying to get back into the state championship game. Right now they lead the defending champs, Waterloo East, 42-37 at halftime at Veterans Auditorium. Now let's go to our on-the-court reporter, Tim Seaman.
Thank you very much, Larry. We're here courtside with the entertainment on the way out at center court. We have the two men that teams will be center court. A little bit later on tonight, Dwight Gingrich at Iowa Mennonite and Bill Dorn, of course, with Applington. And we'll talk with both these coaches about the championship game coming up. First, Dwight, let's talk about a year ago. You know Applington more than just a little. Got knocked off by them in the first round a year ago at the tournament. I probably don't have to remind you.
Yeah, that was a real disappointing loss for us. We had, I think, been favored in that game, and we came into that game really hoping for a win, and of course we didn't get that, and of course that's stuck in our craw ever since. And I think that the guys, in addition to just being very enthused about having the opportunity to be in the championship game, do have in the back of their mind that it was Appleton that put us out last year.
Was it tough to keep that out of the minds during the regular season and just play?
Well, I think so. I think, we have a lot of people back from last year, and I think they're pretty intent on absolving themselves of last year. We were a very young team, and I've been real pleased with how we've been able to maintain our focus throughout the season. I think we've got a group of kids that really have their heads screwed on straight.
Bill Dorn will be on the other side of the court from Applington, and Bill, I know you're especially pleased with the defense that you've got your kids to play these 3 days that they've been on the court, or the 3 games, rather.
We have a very balanced attack, and our defense leads into our offense. So we're very pleased with the fact that we got our 8 kids in the ball game yesterday, and that they did an excellent job of holding Palmer Pomeroy to 43 points. So
not
happy.
Not often that Palmer Pomeroy scores that few.
That's right. I think they were somewhere under 30% for the game, and you have to attribute that to a very good team defense. They say you're not supposed to be able to play a zone against a 3-point shooting team. I guess we'll find out again tonight.
I got to ask you about this, too. You had a new lineup on the court in your last game in the semifinals. Why, and will you do it again?
Well, the situation was one of our starting guards got in foul trouble, so we ended up having to put some different people in there late in the first half, and Palmer Pomeroy just couldn't score against that taller lineup, so we tried it again at the beginning of the second half, and it worked. Now, I'll remember that lineup for future reference, but we'll use our usual starting lineup to begin the ball game tonight.
Okay, have a great game, Coach.
Hey, thank you very much.
Same thing for you, Dwight. Have a good game, and it's been quite a weekend.
Thank you very much.
You bet. We'll go back upstairs.
Hey, that should be a good matchup, Tim. We're really looking forward to that one tonight. And, of course, where you're watching this game is where you can watch all the action, the A and 1A championships tonight, the 2A and 3A championships tomorrow night. But right now, it's the 3A semifinals that we're involved in, and Carol Kuemper leading Waterloo East at the half, 42-37. Waiting in the wings, it'll be the North High Polar Bears with a record of 21-2. And the Ames Little Cyclones, they are 19-3. They have split their regular season series, so this is the rubber game on a neutral court in the semifinals of the Boys State Basketball Tournament. With Gary Thompson, this is Larry Morgan. Now let's take a look at the first half statistics, Gary.
Things are pretty even when you look at it, except Kuemper shooting a little bit better percentage. there, about 6 points better. The free throwing may decide this contest coming down. Neither team has shot free throws well, 3 for 8 and 3 for 7. You notice the rebounding's the same, and you got to figure that without the pressure that East Waterloo normally gets, and Kemper's done a good job, those 5 turnovers are key in the ball game.
It's really even, except for the fact that Carroll Kemper's got 3 more buckets.
That's right, and they got 3 more shots.
We take a look at the scoring leaders. Wallacan, just outstanding first half.
Well, and they probably have to get the ball more to him, but they have to get some more support from him. Eilers come off the bench for 6, and Kemper with good balance. And you've got to see the two there, Friedman and Langerud, and Kasperbauer just biding his time at 6 points.
And so, at the half, it is a 42-37 lead for Carroll Kemper over Waterloo East. We'll be back with the start of the second half in just a moment.
The corn is high and healthy here, and things are as they should be. Here, there's no velvet leaf, no cocklebur, no Canada thistle, and there will be no carryover, because this farmer has changed from atrazine to Banville. Banville, with no carryover. That's a change for the better. From atrazine to Banville, the changing of the guard.
Proudly salutes the spirit of competition displayed throughout the 1991 Iowa Boys State High School Basketball Tournament. We have all proudly come to expect the best.
The 1991 Iowa Boys State Basketball Tournament is brought to you by Norwest Bank, Iowa. Come to expect the best.
We're back at Veterans Auditorium. Both teams have returned to the floor. Second half moments away. And Gary, what kind of trend should we look for early in this third quarter?
Well, I think somehow East Waterloo has to be able to turn up the heat defensively. We said Kemper's just been doing a great job of handling the basketball, beating it, and good ball movement. And then their half-court offense, with that flex they talk about, they're screening down, and the good ball movement gets the ball to the shooter in time, and the defense is coming late. And so they're getting advantage, and they're really attacking the basket against a smaller East Waterloo team. I don't think Kemper wants to change a thing right now.
As far as defending Wallacan, is there anything that Kemper can really do to keep him from getting the ball inside where he's so deadly?
Well, they tried to zone and they tried to slough in there. Then all of a sudden he brings in Eilers, who's a three-point shooter, and he hits 2, and that makes you think, and you kind of cheat out a little bit, and then they dump it in. He is so quick in there that once he gets it, he usually gets the basket or gets somebody to commit a foul. But you just have to pack it in, try and put pressure on the man to the ball, and make it difficult to get it inside.
Trojans back on the floor. They'll make one change from their starting lineup. Cedric Robinson, the sophomore guard who did not start the game, will start the second half. To a team with Galloway along the back line, Kendrick McGee will also be in the lineup, along with Wallacan and Tella Scott. The Tyrone Williams, who hurt that ankle and then did come back, will not start the second half. As far as Carroll Kemper is concerned, to pick up their lineup, that is Knight. There's Friedman. He's their leading scorer so far. Kasperbauer on the drive, and he will team along with Langerud and also Gradeville. So the starters are back in there for Carroll Kemper, and they score to start the ball game second half.
There's Kasperbauer, who said just has a nose for where the basketball is.
At the other end, Waterloo East answers, and so it's still a 5-point game with Carroll Kemper on top, 44-39. Off the baseline, the shot won't go by Knight. And the offensive rebound gets Carroll Kemper. Jamie Langerud, another 2.
Steve McGraw not happy with that. He had 2 kids fighting for the ball. He's happy with the hustle, but as the ball gets away and falls right into Kemper's hands.
Scott on the drive, and he will go to the line, and he was fouled with the foul. Kasperbauer, that will be his second foul. That's the first foul in the second half. As there is Alan Custer, the coach of the Knights, who was an assistant the last time his team got to state in '85, and he thinks he learned a lot there that helps him here.
And he said it conveys over to his team. He said, I'm more comfortable, more confident, not as nervous in the first ball game he was talking about. And he said, I think that conveys over to my basketball team. So consequently, they're playing with confidence.
It rolls out for Robinson, but the Trojans will get another chance.
East Waterloo, never a big lineup, but they're smaller now. With Tyrone Williams sitting down.
And Williams twisted that ankle, and I don't know if that's why he is not starting the second half. We speculate that it might be. Callaway doesn't get the layup, and with the rebound is Friedman. Now a 2-on-1 breakaway. Wallacan has trouble with it. Recovers, and is fouled. Knight with his third foul, but Tom Knight went a long way before he committed that third after getting 2 in the first quarter.
You like to get a lot of mileage out for picking up the third run. He stopped initially, then he goes up, and Wallacan going in with him, and he gets the body.
So Wallacan, who has 20 points in this ballgame through the first half, right at his average, will go to the line. At 24 against Bettendorf in the quarterfinals. You mentioned it at the start of the game, Gary, but it's worth repeating. Wallacan really made a nice personal sacrifice to change positions this year.
Yeah, they're not a big ball club, but he's a strong kid, and he can jump, so they moved him inside as a center when he really probably should be playing perimeter where he's always been playing before. And for him personally, it's caused some people not to take a look at him, maybe some small colleges and so forth, because they say, well, can he shoot it outside? Well, we saw that he could shoot it from about 17 feet. He looked good doing it.
Stevens tossed too tall for Langerud. Here's Robinson.
Well, good job to switch to the left hand here. I was going to say I thought that Andre Galloway would have to step up in the second half and do some damage. And Robinson, I didn't think you could expect Robinson, as a young sophomore, to do it twice, but he might be able to do it too.
Wallacan claims the rebound.
That's an area right there for East Waterloo. They've got to cut down to the second and third shot by Kuemper.
McGee on the follow. Kendrick McGee now has counted 2.
That's where he'll score. He's not a shooter. He's more of a garbage player. Get your points off the board just like he's done there now.
Alan Kessler wants a timeout for Carroll Kuemper. The score is Carroll Kuemper 46, Waterloo East 44. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment.
These days, it's not unusual to see farmers back in school.
This place sure looks a lot smaller. Right, you just got a lot bigger.
They're learning how to apply crop protection chemicals in the safest ways possible.
Remember when the coach made us all get crew cuts? Right before the prom.
Some things may have changed since these farmers were in the classroom, but learning to protect the environment is something they know will never go out of style.
I suppose you're going to want to borrow my nose again.
Brought to you on behalf of the American farmer by the makers of Dual Herbicide.
If you're not shopping the Hy-Vee weekly specials, you're paying too much for your groceries. Our weekly ad features low prices on dozens of products you want to buy. And you'll always find hundreds of in-store specials to help you save money. Take advantage of our weekly specials as well as our low prices. All day, every day at Hy-Vee. And low prices.
At the timeout, Waterloo East goes for a little more height. Brandon Boniface, 6'5" junior, will come to the middle. He wears number 44.
Boniface, not a real aggressive kid. In this game, the way Kuemper's playing, I think he's going to have to pick it up a notch there. He's going to have to play tougher.
Kasperbauer, the left-hander, drills it. 48-44. Kuemper with the lead. Wallacan. But Langerud, I thought, had him pretty well defended.
Yeah, but see, he has that ability. The good thing was he didn't go after and try and block or get the foul, because I mentioned earlier about how they'll take the ball away from you and then get the shot down.
Friedman runs out of room, but he finds Knight. And now the rebound by Boniface gives the Trojans a chance to tie it with a 2 and take the lead with a 3. The turnovers and the points off them, an interesting factor in this game.
Interesting from the fact that it's only a 3-point edge there to East Waterloo. For East Waterloo to be successful, they need to have more of an advantage in that category.
Cedric Robinson will go to the line with the foul called on Gradeville, his second. Galloway Galloway back into the lineup for Waterloo East. And also Scott will come back. McGee sits down. Robinson, a 68% free throw shooter. One of the best on the team that really struggles at the line. He was on the bench here last year when the Trojans won the state tournament as a freshman. If he hits this one, the game will be tied.
Now when they hit some free throws and some shots, they can get in and get to their pressure. Now it's can they put it on and make Kuemper turn the ball over. Gradeville has done a nice job of bringing the ball up.
Against the pressure of Robinson, he's trying to do it. Here's Friedman. And the foul on Galloway as he tried to get the rebound but didn't have the position.
You notice the East Waterloo defense that time. When Friedman went on the drive, they went at him and then dropped off. He wanted to go to the passing lanes and it wasn't there, and he had to take a shot that he didn't want.
Here is the outstanding three-point shooter for the Trojans, Tim Eilers, into the lineup. Inside, Langaroo, and he is fouled. Scott on the personal.
East Waterloo has to figure out a way to keep Kuemper from getting inside, and that's a tough job because they run a lot of picks and screens.
Kuemper now with 3 team fouls, East with 2. Back in the lineup, Hendrick McGee. He had a brother who was a starter on the state tournament champions of last year. Boniface going out. Langaroo missed his first 2 free throws, nails one there, and that gives Kuemper a 1-point lead, 49-48. By 2, 4:12 to go, third quarter. Gradeville on the takeaway, but nice taken back. Wallace.
Andre Galloway, just a nice pass right there, recognition.
Fast breaking is Casper Bauer. He had 6 in the quarter, 14 in the game. Kuemper by 2.
If you're a Trojan fan, that really hurts. You do something good on this end, make a play, and then they counter and hit you back within about 4 seconds. Takes away your momentum.
And the reach and foul whistled against Gradeville. That will be his 3rd.
Watch here, Gradeville loses, and look at that pass. Foot pass over his head. If he doesn't make that, I think the defender on this other side would have been able to catch up, and it wouldn't have been a layup. He might have had to go to the foul line after getting fouled.
With 3 fouls, Gradeville will lead. Number 12, Chris Ben Tiger, a 5'10 senior, who averages less than a point a game, comes in to take his place.
Steve McGraw, seemingly to me, now substituting a little bit more often with the pressure, telling probably his kids, go hard, we're going to interchange, get you in and out. We'll play 100%.
Once again, Wallakin tries to inbound. Trojans looking to tie it up. They find Wallakin in the pass from Robinson.
Well, that was a tough shot because he got bumped by the defender, knocking him away, and he's able to get it up off the glass.
27 for Rodney Wallakin. The open shot by Ben Tiger, and the rebound taken down by Casper Bauer. This is Friedman again.
You can credit that basket rather to Casper Bauer. He looked at the shot, really didn't have it, took it back out, got it around, and they ended up with a good shot or 2.
Robinson 3 is an air ball, and it will go back to Carroll Kuemper with 2:56 to go in the third quarter. And the Knights have the lead, and they are known for their enthusiastic following.
They've got a great crowd here. There's no doubt about that. And they let Robinson know that it was an air ball, didn't they?
They certainly did. Steyer in briefly. He is out. Tom Knight, number 32, is back in. There's Galloway for Waterloo East.
Got to credit East Waterloo. They've come back out here in the second half. They got into a little bit more of their game, and they're causing some things to happen.
Inside, Friedman. Offensive foul.
That was a good call. Friedman had the advantage. It was taken away, and he tried to bump him out of there to get to the basket.
He had the mismatch. He had the shorter 5'11 player on him, and Friedman is 6'3", tried to back down an extra step.
East Waterloo, they got by with it that time, but they're giving the baseline up way too much that deep. They've got to cut that off and play to the outside, turn them back in where you can get somebody to drop off from the outside to help you out.
Three Kuemper players now at 3 fouls. Friedman has 3, Knight has 3, Granville has 3 as Waterloo East spreads. The 3 by Robinson. And the rebound by Friedman. On the takeaway was Boniface, and now once again, Carol Kuemper will bring it up the floor. Foul called on Eilers. His first foul.
Matchup right here. Kasperbauer has said, good job of protecting the basketball. Eilers trying to ride with him, could not get to it, and commits the foul.
Steve McGraw is going to make a substitution. Tella Scott will come into the lineup as you take a look at Alan Custer.
He's done a good job. They're playing man for man, but what they're doing is they're really sagging off. So they've taken the drives away, and now they've been cutting off the inside play a lot. It's been tough to get the pass in there. They're making East beat them really from outside.
2 minutes to go, third quarter. Friedman, fouled by Scott. Number 3 on Tella Scott.
He probably wished he had that play back because he just made a reach and it really wasn't a good attempt at all. Then he gets caught with the foul. Here's the pass over the head. You see, he just kind of reaches back in. He lost sight of the basketball, really. That's what caused him the problem.
Kasperbauer to the baseline.
Well, he likes that shot. If I'd covered him there, I'm going to force him to go to his right, take the left hand away from him.
8 in the quarter, 16 in the game. Robinson.
The mental discipline's going to come in from East Waterloo for them now. With a team that wants to go up and down the court, they haven't been able to establish that. Now they've got to have patience to play a good half-court game. Those shots are there.
On the drive, it is the outstanding sophomore, Cedric Robinson.
And that's what he would prefer to do. That's what pretty much what they've been taken away by sloughing in the middle, but the up fake got his man out of position.
The takeaway. On the D, here's Galloway.
The Tiger didn't get anything out of it, but I like that. He chased him, and then he kind of stamped his feet, made him take it with one hand as if he's going to take it away from the defensive man. He makes the basket, but it's the kind of play that sometimes you make a guy miss.
Knight trying to save.
Good hand.
Wallace pulls up.
Kuemper right this possession. I'd say slow him down, get into your half-court offense, get into good movement, and get back to getting a good shot. They're playing now the game that East Waterloo wants, up and down.
Apparently they agree with you, Gary.
Well, we're going for the last shot. It's interesting this ball game. Forgot to look at the time. And that was it.
Galloway with his second foul. Remember, Waterloo East playing this entire second half and most of the first half without their starting center, Tyrone Williams, who turned an ankle. 26 seconds left to play in the third quarter, and there's a timeout on the floor. And here's a word from your local station.
March is Hyundai savings time at your Hyundai dealer. And there's never been a better time to get big savings on every 91 Sonata in stock. Save on a roomy, powerful Sonata V6 with 4-speed automatic, stereo, and more room and power than Ford Taurus. With rebates as high as $1,500 and prices as low as $10,420. It's a big car for less than many small cars. See your Hyundai dealer. It could be the smartest move you make all year. Sale ends April 3rd.
Things were pretty quiet around here until Hardee's brought out that California Raisin family.
Buy a Raisin Oat Bran pecan muffin or any dessert. And for 99 cents, you get yourself a purple neighbor.
Those raisins are raising a ruckus all over town. But it ain't what we call fun, is it, Martha? Martha? Martha! Oh, Martha.
California raisins. Collect all 4. Only 99 cents each. Only Hardee's.
26 seconds to go in the third quarter of a tie ball game. It's Carroll Kemper ball as we take a look at a fine play by the Trojans that tied it up.
And then the good presence of mind to get the ball down court. Here's where the Tiger comes in, stamps his feet, and makes him take it with one hand up, but he does get the basket down.
Again, it's tied, so Kemper plays for the lead in the waning moments of the quarter. 15 seconds. Friedman in deep. Friedman gets the putback.
Good second effort, and again, giving up the baseline.
Robinson. And it's a basket lead for Carroll Kemper at the end of 3. That's the end of the third quarter with the score. Carroll Kemper 58, Waterloo East 56. We'll be back after this word from your local station.
The 1991 Iowa Boys State Basketball Tournament is brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Test drive his full line of quality cars from Hyundai. Yes, Hyundai.
March is Hyundai savings time at your Hyundai dealer. And there's never been a better time to get big savings on every 91 Sonata in stock. Save on a roomy, powerful Sonata V6 with 4-speed automatic, stereo, and more room and power than Ford Taurus. With rebates as high as $1,500 and prices as low as $10,420. It's a big car for less than many small cars. See your Hyundai dealer. It could be the smartest move you make all year. Sale ends April 3rd.
Ever since we sprayed the corn with Bucktril herbicide this afternoon, old Buck's been pretty excited. That's because Bucktril gives us fast knockdown of velvet leaf, cucumber, and other broadleaves. In fact, the minute Bucktril hits the weed, the show's over.
When it comes to controlling broadleaf weeds in corn, nothing measures up to Bucktril.
Buck swears it works so fast he can hear the weeds drop.
A late-night host is defined by the company he keeps.
I've been watching you for a long time.
I've been watching you too, honey.
And that makes this late-night host classy, sassy, wild, wacky, sweet, sexy, smart, and funny. Show you right. Weeknights at 10 on KDSM Fox 17.
Welcome back to Vets Auditorium. I'm Tim Seaman. Kemper 58-56. Girls, who's going to win this? I don't know. We've got a quarter to play. Let's go back upstairs.
Well, Gary, everybody talked about the matchup coming up between North and Ames, but this has been a whale of a ball game.
Didn't I tell you at the start that you got two good teams here, and underestimated the ability of these two teams, what kind of game it was going to be.
Tyler's for 3, and he is 3 of 3 from three-point range. And that basket gives Waterloo East the lead.
I think we've got a foul on Kemper. Tyler's with his third straight three-pointer, and not from that range necessarily have been able to have it, but they've had some closer in shots, and I think that's one thing. If they can hit a little from outside, they got a chance to do some good.
Chris Van Tiger picking up the foul there. That gives the Trojans, the defending 3A champs, the possession, a 1-point lead, 7:40 to play. Is really something. They ask him basically to do one thing.
Yeah, shoot.
Put the bomb up, and he has done it 3 times. On the drive, it is Scott.
You can't afford to let Scott drive. You've got to give him the outside shot.
He's biggest lead of the second half. Underneath it is Friedman. And he will go to the line. Wallakin on his second foul.
Well, there's the pump fake we talk about it. It doesn't get the three-point play, but he has a chance to go to the line for 2, and we'll get a chance to look at it. There's the baseline open again. They slash by there and pumps it up, and then from behind, Wallakin commits the foul.
If you're Wallakin and you get caught there behind, what do? Give up the shot or go for it?
Well, it depends on what you have in front. A player of his ability, I think he can take that with 7 minutes to go. That's only his third, so he's got 2 fouls left here with 7 minutes to go.
Do you say make him make it, and he makes the first one. 18 now for Greg Friedman.
Well, and he thought he had a chance to block it, and with his jumping ability from behind, that was an easier play than if you're going to try and get him from the front for him.
From the end zone, watch the Trojans operate. Wallace misses, but rebounds to Galloway, missed and scores, and for Rodney Wallace, 29 points.
Notice they're penetrating now. When you penetrate, you look to pick up. If you miss the shot, then you have guys going on the boards to rebound.
Robinson. And the foul is called. And this will be the second in the half against Carroll Kemper. Langerud picks up his second personal foul.
And remember, the tempo of the game changed in the last couple minutes of the third quarter, and it's continuing over here. And there's the timeout by Kemper, and I think a good one by Alan Custer.
Waterloo East leads Carroll Kemper 63-59. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment.